Fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging them moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land. I'm drinking my buddy's homemade wine, living Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine, in the Northwest wild.
I like that.
Good times. Hey, here we are. Welcome. Fish on Northwest live in studio, 6 p.m. Dwayne England. Dave Calhoun sitting in on the co-host duties this evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good. We've had a pretty awesome week.
We've had a busy week. And we're going to get into all of that. We had an outstanding weekend, obviously, of which we'll recap on that. The Kids Trout Derby last weekend, huge success. But yeah, welcome back to the studio, buddy. I'm glad you could sit in tonight. Tommy and Josh are on assignment up in the Sekiu area, trying to get out and go chase some fish the next 3-4 days. And so I was hoping to get a check-in with him, but man, Tommy is just busy scrambling. You know, we had that little boat hiccup last week, which he's spent his entire week resolving, and I'm just hoping and praying they get back on the water, get out after some groceries here. The weather forecast is going to change a little bit. The weekend's looking pretty nice compared to what we have going on today. This has been just absolutely ridiculous.
That's okay. We still needed the water, so if you're going to get it, why not get it right
Get it now, yeah.
Awesome holiday weekend.
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
The barbecues and the picnics can start.
And under the heat, so that's
Yes.
something to look forward to. But we also know with weather changes, and I haven't looked at the offshore flow or the marine forecast, but you know, sometimes when we crank up that hot weather, we get that wind kicking up out there as well. So we'll delve into that as we move on through the show later on. That being said, hey everybody, welcome, and if it's your first time, especially thanks for stopping in and checking us out tonight. Go ahead and grab our link here and share our content. We got a lot of great content to go over this evening. Dave is going to be here for the duration, and we're going to tackle a lot of topics. I want to remind everybody that Fish on Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Pacific Commons Real Estate, located in Puyallup, Washington. Of course, our good buddies out there at Defiance Marine. Hey, you had the opportunity to jump in the old Allied Mustang with me.
I did. We've been talking about it forever. Well, and my first time over here in your favorite little lake, which we've been talking about doing that forever.
For a long time.
Just schedule and different things didn't work out. So we knocked a lot of things out this week.
Yeah, we did. We did. And you got to step foot in the boat, and we trolled around and caught some kokanee.
Absolutely. I got the first fish.
Yes, you did.
I may have handed it off, but I definitely got the first fish.
Yes, you did. And we were running some of those Northwest rods out there, which I absolutely love, those kokanee rods, and we're going to talk about those as the evening progresses. But so yeah, folks down at Defiance Marine, if you got any boat issues, call them up, get your boat in there at the service shop, top notch, second to none. And of course, the folks working the sales floor, it's the manufacturers of your Allied, your Defiance, and of course your Arima series boats out there, Defiance Marine in Bremerton. And we want to welcome www.phoenixprotectivecorp.com. Check out everything they got going on within their business. They are always looking to hire good and skilled persons. If you are a former military or police agency, go ahead and give them a call. Check them out on their webpage. Fantastic company to work for and doing a lot of really good things. With that, Dave, lots going around the Pacific Northwest and beyond. Hey, everybody check it in. $5 for first fish, Jason. We got, Dave, I need a 10'6" salmon trolling rod. Northwest Kokanee rods in store at the tackle box. Oh, Justin, yeah, nice to hear.
Well, so here's what I'm doing. As part of my expansion, which we are expanding, and we'll get into this later.
Okay.
But Justin is my mobile kokanee guy.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. So he's the only one that sells them.
Now, does he have the new one-piece rod?
He does.
He's got them on a long rack up top.
He does.
Okay.
And I can't build these rods fast enough, and we'll talk about those. But Justin's been doing a great job. He goes to all the kokanee events, like they did one at Detroit about 2-3 weeks ago, and then he goes up to Merwin and Yale, and having those rods that people can see, because my one thing is I'm not in the shop all the time.
Right.
It's not centrally located for everybody, and I'm not going to retailers, and so they're just going to be hard to get.
This is a good segue, because we were going to just delve right into what's been going on in Northwest Rods. And so you got you have the tackle box. PNW is out on the road, dragging around, selling gear and selling your rod specifically.
Yeah, well, right now there's a shortage of tackle. Whether you go into Sportco or whether you're just in the mom and pop shop or even people that are manufacturing stuff in the U.S. Because even the most American person probably uses something that comes from China or somewhere else. And there are problems getting a lot of that stuff. The supply chain just broke down. So I'm lucky that I build my own blanks, so I don't have to worry about somebody else supplying. But I also been hoarding parts for 15 years.
Right.
And so I've got all of this cork, and cork's making a comeback, and good thing I've got 10 million pieces of it.
You put the cork handles back on this new series of kokanee rod, and I've been fishing those. I've had those feather sticks forever and a day. Those one-piece rods, they're outstanding. But I got to tell you, the sensitivity, the full-on parabolic bend that goes into the cork on your rod, and that cork handle is so nice to hold on to. Got used to the composite handles. They're okay, but man, you get that soft cork back in your hand. I'm telling you, man, that rod, really have enjoyed it the last week or two. Finally, with the boat on the water chasing kokanee and putting that in rotation, that thing is fantastic. And I'm so glad to hear you brought me 3 more.
Yeah, I did. Well, you got to have a matching set.
Well, my custom rods aren't quite done yet until you make more blanks, and I cannot wait for those. But these, and when I get those custom rods, we're gonna blow these 4 slightly used rods out the door.
Okay, so I'm going to make a disclaimer. You cannot get custom rods. I do not do custom rods anymore. No, because this is what happens. Somebody said, "Oh, will you put my name on it? Will you make it pink with purple polka dots? Oh, I like green on the tip." The answer is no to any of that.
Just flat out no.
So it's not personal.
Right.
Not that I don't want to do it for you. It's just I cannot keep up with the special request stuff because I can't keep up with the mass production stuff. And the cork we're talking about, this is high-end Portuguese cork. It is not the stuff that comes out of China. When you look at a rod that comes out of China, there's a reason it's wrapped in plastic on the cork. And that's because there's so much filler in that cork. It's like paste. It's like wallpaper paste. Oh. And they take the cruddy cork and they just cake the stuff on, and then they kind of wipe it down and wrap it in plastic. You take that plastic off and you get that rod wet, that stuff comes out, looks like Swiss cheese.
So
the rod will break apart.
It's like Bondo on a car. Yeah. They're filling in the dents.
That's exactly right. Okay. So the stuff that I'm using, even though it's a limited run of the stuff that's on that kokanee rod, that's really tight Portuguese cork.
It's nice.
It
feels really nice. The grip is just, it's not going anywhere in your hand. You're not going to drop that rod.
No. And the options are that or the new carbon fiber, not the tube style like you've had.
Right.
This is the carbon fiber texture grip. I call it my stinger handle.
Is that woven?
Yeah, it's a woven material around foam, so that's going to go on the next run.
Much easier to grip as well.
And it has all the properties of cork. It'll warm up in your hand where the tube didn't used to.
Correct.
Plus, we're making that all in the U.S., so it just falls back into the keep everything American. So they'll have the 2 options, the cork handle and the carbon fiber.
Nice.
And it'll be $25 more for carbon fiber. And those will be available soon. When you run that next series of blanks, are you going to produce that white blank that you had in here last time you were here? Or? Yeah, so that's one of those things where I showed it and didn't have inventory. That went crazy.
And everybody blew up on it?
I'll be not only doing those, but I also have one that's kind of an off-white color you'll have to see it.
Okay.
But I'm experimenting with different things, and really what it just comes up to is material that's available. Yeah. You're on hold on the black material, but hey, we've got this off-white that's available, and you go, I'll take 400 because I can't keep up.
Right.
So sometimes it's cool and it just works out.
It may, it looks a little different, but it's truly, I mean, the action, the way that rod feels and its performance and everything that you've put into that blank is just, I'm telling you, man, it is something to be held. And you can hold one. You have you have how many
well,
left?
I've got some still in stock. I got 30 of them.
Okay.
And I think what's going to happen, so we were going to talk about the Sportsman show coming up in July.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
Okay.
But I may have enough to get me by till then, and then I think I'll have what I have almost finished in stock to where everybody can get them at that time, and then there'll be a long period of time before they're back in. Yeah.
What those rods you have in possession right now, this Kokanee rod I'm speaking of, what are you going to let that go for?
125.
125. That's a steal. We got a few folks. Eric's asking, hey, what's your shop hours? Typically Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm in the shop from 10 to 4. But okay.
I tell people my phone is always on. And
okay.
Sometimes it works great for me and sometimes it's not. But you can set up a time, make an appointment. Say, I'll be coming through Kalama Wednesday at 4 p.m. Are you there? Yes, I'll make it.
Okay.
Right? So I can do appointments, which works better for me.
Throw your number out there.
360-931 9776. If you
9776.
If you go on the Northwest Rods page, it's on there. On my Facebook page, on my website, it's accessible, and people can text me or just call me and say, hey, here's when I'm coming through. Mm-hmm. I get a lot of people, Portland, Seattle. Yep. They think it's in the middle somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's easier just to have people tell me when they're coming.
Hey, Mark, just get on Dave's Facebook page, send him a message on Messenger, and then he'll coordinate with you on either, you're going to have to go pick it up. It's a one-piece.
Well, no, I can ship.
You're going to ship that thing?
Absolutely.
Are you? Okay.
It costs about $15
for shipping.
To ship a 8-foot one piece, pretty much in the Northwest.
Okay.
So Oregon, Washington, $15. I can ship it. I can ship up to 4 in one tube.
Oh yeah.
So if you're going to buy one, you better buy 4.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be mad you didn't buy them when I can't get you more.
Right.
And it's the same amount of shipping.
At a minimum, you should buy 2. You got to at least have 2 matching Kokanee rods on your boat. And for $125, and your shipping is going to be about $15 if you can't swing by Dave's shop. And jump on his. You got your phone number on your Facebook page, like I do.
Yeah.
Get on his Facebook page, Northwest Rods, and there's his phone number. You can give him a call and coordinate when you can swing by the shop and pick it up. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you said 10 to 4.
Yeah, and I'll have sales on Saturdays, and I usually post that on my page. But what I've noticed is fishermen are complete detail, OCD, ADD, whatever you want to call it. And when we're working on trying to get patterns and different things going on, they all want the same thing.
Yeah.
You can't just have one green rod and everything else is black and hard to see.
Right.
They go, well, now I need another. And then, well, now I need, just give me 4.
Right.
So I'm telling you, save yourself the trouble and just buy them in 2s or 4s.
With that, you had mentioned the Sportsman show. So this is something not like the big venue Sportsman show. Dave has been doing the Kalama version, the Kalama Sportsman show on his property there where his shop is located just off I-5 in Kalama. Talk a little bit about that, what it's all about, and when the next one is.
Well, so last year, before the COVID stuff all happened, we had an amazing show. We had about 12 to 15 vendors that all set up in the parking lot, and it was great. We had people that made their own spinners and lead and all this different tackle, plus the rods, and it was a great sale. Well, this year I tried to put it out, and we had issues with different avenues, whether it be Facebook or whatever, trying to get the word out that we were going to have it. Because I'm so dictated on the weather. I will know on Monday if Saturday's going to be sunny enough because it's all outside. So when I post it, normally you'd get all these people, oh, I'd like to set up a booth, or I'm interested, and it didn't go anywhere. No. And I mean, it was still a great sale.
Facebook
all the
clamping you down.
That's exactly what's going on. It's going on all over, and people are in this industry that use Facebook as a marketing tool are kind of, we all are. So what's happening is I'm trying to get the word out. So everybody that's watching, if this is something you'd like to set up, we're going to do it July 24th. Okay. It's a Saturday right before Buoy 10, so it'll be perfect timing for people that are trying to get stuff for Buoy 10. It may be the only place that there is tackle,
Especially when it comes to fishing rods.
Yes. So, and I'm already building for that because I'm out of my 9-foot Scorpion. I have 0. Really? I don't even have the demo.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Gone. So there's hundreds of rods being built right now that I'm targeting that July 24th date. Oh. So there's guides that are going to go out in the industry and try and find rods. Yep. You better start looking now.
Throw your address out there, and here, what I will do is each week here on the show, I will remind folks Because I'll check our schedule as well, but if I'm not working, we're available. We're bringing the trailer down full of FHN swag. We got all the new tuna series stuff, which will be right before, as we slide into buoy 10. Then you're just on the front door of tuna season.
We had Fallen Outdoors come to our last one and set up.
Oh, nice.
They did giveaways. They
Perfect.
signed up people's raffles and stuff.
Okay.
So I'm sure that if they can put that together, they'll be there.
Yeah.
I've got 5 to 10 vendor friends that if I can give enough notice, that's why I'm skipping June.
Sure.
I'm going right to July.
Go to July.
And that'll be a perfect time. I can almost guarantee the weather will cooperate.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to put all of our energy into that show, and that'll probably be the last one that I do for this year.
This season, yeah. Because then we get far too busy fishing.
Well, that's it. August, September, we're done. So,
yeah. Great. Well, good stuff going on down there at Northwest Rod. You and I have always, continued to work together and promote each other. And I fish your rods. You give me rods to fish, and I get them out there and try to break them. And I can't. And they perform fantastic. Even those early series of bait rods you gave me back in the day for buoy 10, just a phenomenal presenting rod, loads up all the way through when those fish jump on that herring. I mean, just really, really top of the line products. And with all other rod companies nowadays, who knows who's going to be around and what's going on. It is crazy. Rod companies come and go. Dave's been there for a long time. He's been doing it, and you do it well. So,
thank you.
Hey, before we jump out for a break, let's do a quick recap. Last Saturday, again, you came and gave us a hand here. Down at the community center, we had the first annual kids trout fishing derby put on and hosted by Fish on Northwest and the Summit Lake Community Center. I got to tell you, everybody that showed up, man, we were overwhelmed with the amount of people. We had over 150 people there. We had 65 kids register. Almost all those kids walked away with something, and you assisted with the raffle and assisted with helping people out and weigh in, and we had the Swensons there doing weigh in, and we had other raffle items going. It's just a big event for the first one. It was
so I was a little concerned. There was a little period of time where I was a little concerned that maybe people hadn't found out about it or whatever because there was nobody there. Well, they were all out fishing.
They were fishing,
and boy, when they rolled in, it was like suddenly the floodgates opened.
Man.
And I was like, oh, good, this turned out really good, and we had like 150 people.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids, it worked so perfect with the amount of prizes we had.
Yeah.
Every kid got a bag or got a tackle box or got a rod. It was just the right amount of everything. Everybody, there was all food. I mean, it worked out perfect. I know you worked hard, you and Shing. I mean, she worked really super hard trying to make that happen. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. It was so much fun. Yeah,
you were there helping out. Gretchen Dearden was there. Mike Olson came. He also provided a handful of different items, tackle boxes and rods and reels and nets and stuff for donation for the raffle. Every child that was involved registered got a free raffle ticket. So every kid had opportunity to win stuff, even if they won from catching certain fish in certain categories. Some kids went home with 2 tackle boxes.
Yeah,
it's like you got one in reserve.
There was only a couple of raffle tickets left. I mean, we called a few that didn't. Yeah. But there was only a couple raffle tickets left after we handed out everything else. I thought that was perfect. So
I want to thank all the sponsors: Mike Plum Street Automotive there in Olympia, Metal Supermarkets. Friends of ours down the lake. We had some families around the lake that donated money so we could buy a lot of those materials. We had Max Lure, Sportco Outdoor Emporium. Apologize if I'm forgetting anybody. Mike Olson.
The Summit Lake people that helped out with that stuff too. That was
just
great.
The community coming together. They were the community was blown away. They're like, we never seen anything like this. So I mean, look, people are looking for things to do. Families have been cooped up far too long. Fishing, if you haven't heard, Dave, is cool again. So the kids are getting involved, the families are getting involved, and this is what it's all about. We had a fantastic time, and I assure you we will do it again next year. It's going to be even bigger and better because this was the first one to get through. So
absolutely.
I want to thank you for all your help, and it was a heck of a lot of fun. And thanks to everybody who came out and brought your kids. We had a very, very nice morning to afternoon. It was a well-attended event. All right, with that, we are going to jump out for a quick break. Now, don't go anywhere. Stick through the break, and we're going to roll out another recipe of the week. This is with Chef Jeff Maxfield up there at Fins Bistro. Shing is in the kitchen co-hosting with Sheri, as we like to refer to him. And this is a wild turkey dumplings that is amazing, right? It is very easy to overcook your wild game and your bird and your fowl, right?
Yep.
These wild turkeys are more of a dark meat, but they are also extremely lean in some regards. So there are certain ways and methods to go about cooking these things. wild turkey and dumplings is one of his favorites, and for good reason. It was absolutely fantastic. So stick through this because we have a ton of other bits of info to get to. We have Chris Donley lined up later on the show. He is the WDFW Region 1 Fish Program Manager on the east side. We're going to delve into Roosevelt Lake. They just planted 450,000 triploids there. Let's talk about what's going on with the kokanee fishing. I want you guys to get an understanding, an educational perspective, Dave, on when we say triploid in Roosevelt, we're not talking about its fat cousin over there in Rufus. These are far different fish. A lot to do with simply the feed, okay, and how they acquire their food. It's an interesting conversation. You're going to learn a lot. Listen to Chris Donley. He's a very smart man. Later on, we're also going to show you a recap of our outing last week on Sekiu, targeting sea bass, rockfish, lingcod, and of course the 80+ pound halibut that we boated. I'm going to play you the whole deal. It's a little bit of a long segment, but the beginning of that is important. Tommy does a phenomenal job. You know, I don't know if you know Tommy Donlin very well, but he's a very serious individual. Yeah. He can never turn off his engineer brain, which is a good thing for anybody that goes out on the water with him in his boat. Super safety conscious, and goes over all the safety parameters before we even started our trip, and just did a really nice job. So I packaged that all up, edited into a segment for us to watch. You're going to enjoy that. And then of course later on we are going to jump into the Bay Lab. I'm going to take you through a few steps and some processes I use when it comes to adding scents and different options for your corn, different colors of corn, how to use scents. Do you put scent on your Dodger, and if so, what are you using, and some different scents to think about, okay? So lots to cover, lots of great information coming. Stick through the break, stick through the recipe of the week. You're going to enjoy it with Chef Jeff Maxfield up there in Issaquah, Fins Bistro, and Shing, and all that right here at Fish on Northwest when we come back.
Defiance Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers, or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts with services ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. Phoenix client management models are built on understanding our clients' security needs and responding with a tailored program that is best fit for them. Phoenix provides excellent customer service through well-trained, highly motivated security professionals. Recruiting highly qualified officers is the first step in building a strong team. Currently, we are comprised of 70% prior law enforcement and military veterans. If you are prior military or law enforcement, go to www.phoenixprotectivecorps.com and apply today.
Welcome back to Fish Hut Northwest. We're here in the kitchen at Fins Bistro in Issaquah with the chef and owner, Jeff Maxfield. And what do we have here? Oh, some turkey?
We've got turkey.
Spring turkey?
Spring turkey. We're going to do turkey and dumplings.
Oh,
so a great
awesome.
opportunity to use an otherwise lean fowl that, you know, is hard to cook sometimes.
Yeah.
And so we're going to essentially do a stew with it that's going to, you know, help tenderize a little bit and you know, kind of slow cook it to where it starts to fall apart, you know, and melt in your mouth. So
okay, sounds great.
Very good.
Yeah.
So a couple of the ingredients we're going to use is carrots, onion, celery. It's kind of the basis of you know, most stews and, you know, classic.
The Trinity.
The Trinity, the mirepoix, if you will. We're going to also use some cremini mushrooms. You know, depending on the season, you know, morels in the spring, chanterelles, hedgehogs, any of those in the fall, all work really well. Anything that you find when you're out in the woods, those will all work perfectly in this recipe. We've got some fresh rosemary, a little bit of dried thyme, garlic, bay leaf, and then we're going to use our dumpling mix, which is just essentially a store-bought biscuit mix or baking mix.
Okay, but you added some buttermilk instead of...
Yep, we do buttermilk, and that, you know, the buttermilk's almost kind of like a living thing. It's like using yogurt, right? So in a otherwise kind of unleavened dough, buttermilk helps to lift it a little bit. So you can see, you know, it's nice and kind of loose and it's puffed up like a sourdough starter almost.
Yeah, it does.
And all I've done is essentially follow the recipe on the side of the box, and then we added in some fresh herbs. So you can parsley, dill, rosemary, thyme. You can put some lemon zest in there. You know, really, it's a pretty...
To your taste.
Exactly. It's a versatile recipe. Okay. So, should we get started?
Yes.
All right.
Let's get started.
So, what we're going to do is, I like to, again, serve in a cast iron skillet, especially a meal like this that, you know, is kind of a one-dish meal and you dish right out of it. Dutch oven or an enameled cast iron, like a Le Creuset or one of those big, you know, heavy pots work really well for this. So again, let's get going. We're going to use a little bit of olive oil just to keep our turkey from sticking. And so as that pan warms up, we're going to take our turkey and we're going to season it.
Is that your Fins Bistro seasoning?
That is the secret seasoning.
Yeah. Won't be too secret.
No, right?
Any longer.
So we'll start searing that turkey. And you don't want to crowd the pan. You know, the more space you have in between the meat, the better. That helps ensure even browning.
Okay.
And so we'll just give that, you know, a little bit of time before we start adding the rest of our ingredients.
All right.
So I like to start with the hardest, you know, densest vegetable first. So you can, you know, if you wanted to sub in turnips or rutabagas, you know, anything hard or root vegetable, parsnip works really well. This is when you would want to put those in because they're going to take a little bit longer to cook.
So the carrots.
And then we'll add our celery. And our onion.
So is that about a cup of each?
That was about a cup of each. And I like to do equal parts. You know, just it gives you you know, that's the vegetable that you're going to be having with the turkey. So that, you know, really, you know, you kind of want an equal amount of all the vegetables, and then that should equal about the amount of protein that you have in that pan.
Okay.
So at this point, I'm going to add in mushrooms. The rest of those in.
Thank you.
And some garlic. And I like to add the garlic in more on the end of the process, just so that it keeps it from burning.
Don't get that burn like I do.
Yeah. All right.
I always think I'm doing it just enough time, but then it always turns on me.
Yeah, and it's, you know, and once it goes so quick.
Yeah.
And it never is very delicious after that point. So dry thyme, I like using a little bit of dried herb in this. This is a great opportunity to see what you've got in your spice rack at home. You know, this is a great way to use it up. Sage works really well. I'm a big fan of, you know, with fowl, thyme, rosemary, and bay leaf. So with our...
and you don't want to put that stuff in too early. That's like
early.
at the end.
Yeah, you want to let that. And what happens is because it is it's oil soluble or fat soluble. You need the fat really from the turkey and that oil, and then we're going to add a little bit of butter here in a second. That fat helps to release those oils.
Okay.
So at this point, we're going to make a roux or a thickening mixture right into the pan. So I've got a little bit of butter that we're just going to let melt right in the pan here.
I like these one-pan dishes.
Especially when you're the one having to clean up afterwards.
Yes.
Boy. Give me a couple paper bowls and I'm set. I don't need anything else besides the skillet. All right. So you can see how that is starting to melt in there. And it's starting to... All right.
Smells so delicious.
Doesn't have to be completely, I'm going to switch to a spoon now. Doesn't have to be completely melted because it'll continue to melt as we're adding in the flour.
Okay.
So now is when we want to dust the flour in. If you don't want to use wheat product, you can use any other flour substitute that would
so
be
this was
gluten-free.
all-purpose
This is just
flour?
all-purpose flour, correct.
But you can use like the almond flour and all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so all we're doing is making sure there's no clumps really of the flour and it's all evenly distributed there. Okay, and at that point, then we're going to add in cream of chicken soup.
Oh.
And this is going to help. You'll see here in a second how it's going to help.
Half a can of that?
About a half a can.
Okay.
All right, we'll give that a little stir there. And I'll turn the heat down just a little bit, just so that we're not scorching too much on the bottom. And then now time for chicken broth. And if you've got homemade chicken broth in the freezer, great way to use it up. If not, just a little, I try to use the low sodium chicken broth just so it's, we're not loading up too much. And you can see just like that, it's going to start making that sauce right in the pan.
There you go.
And all that nice, everything that we've seared that turkey with, all that
all
stuff
those flavors in there.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. And then last but not least, we're going to top it with our dumplings.
Okay.
So this works real well. Just a couple spoons. And just want to scoop them up. Pop them right in.
Just like that.
Just like that. And, that rustic look is okay.
Yeah.
It's not anything. So, if you've got...
It's supposed to be perfect.
One dumpling per person typically is what I do. If you got a bunch of hungry eaters, do a couple per or make them a little bit bigger.
Oh,
another
Our
great...
crew's hungry eaters.
Oh, yeah. And another great thing to do with this is, if you don't want to use baking mix and fuss around with having... to mix buttermilk or anything like that, you can just buy the pre-done biscuit dough that you just kind of snap the can open, and those work really well on top too.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to put a little bit of rosemary on top, turn the heat off, and we're going to go right into the oven.
Okay. And that's at 350?
350, and we're going to let that cook for about 25 minutes until, the turkey won't take very long, but you don't want to do it at a high heat because you want the turkey to cook slowly. Too fast, it's going to make it even tough.
Right.
It'll make it tough.
Yeah.
And then you want those biscuits to brown up and cook all the way through before before we're all done there. So here we've got finished product.
Magically appears.
Magically appearing.
Oh.
And so there we have our chicken and dumplings. And you know, you can garnish it before you head it out to the table, a little more rosemary maybe. Another great thing is I like to do, and it kind of cuts through that richness, is a little bit of lemon zest.
Whoa.
Right over the top. And
It looks awesome.
And there we have it.
And it's just basically spring turkey and dumplings.
Spring turkey and dumplings.
Okay, well, while we finish up here in the kitchen, we're going to go ahead and throw it back to you guys in the studio.
There you go, Dave. That is the wild turkey and dumplings, and let me tell you, it was amazing. And I ate way too much of the dumplings. So,
did you gobble it up?
Oh, that's a good one. Leave it to Calhoun to come through at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, hey, if you are looking for the specific ingredients and the process on putting that whole thing together, go to www.fishhuntnw.com. That recipe is loaded up on our webpage under the food tab. Scroll across the top, click food, and you'll see all the recipes that are there. And each week or every other week or so, we continue to add more fantastic recipes from Chef Jeff Maxfield up there at Fins Bistro. And do yourself a favor, if you haven't ventured up there to Issaquah, it's a really nice drive. It's a beautiful part of our state up there around Issaquah. Plenty to do and see around there, and take some time stopping at Fins and get yourself some amazing seafood. Jeff and his crew do an amazing job. So happy to have him on board as our current chef, and we got a lot of good things coming down the line, Dave. So yeah, give that a go. If you got some turkey in the freezer, get it out and try that recipe. Okay, with that, we're going to jump out for a quick break. We come back, we're going to get our good buddy Chris Donley, WDFW Region 1 Program Manager, Fish Program Manager. Interesting conversation we're going to have on the Lake Roosevelt and the Triploids that they recently planted. What's going on with the Kokanee this year as we get closer to our rendezvous that's going to take place over there.
I don't like the way you say it.
Triploid?
No, rendezvous.
Rendezvous.
Yeah, no, it sounds weird when you say it.
Okay, don't worry, rendezvous. And a whole lot more to talk to Chris about, so don't go anywhere, stick through the break. We'll be right back here at Fish Hunt Northwest.
An Outdoor Emporium, is the largest local outfitter in the Northwest since 1975, providing thousands of people affordable outdoor gear. This summer, make your next outdoor adventure more affordable by shopping at our warehouse-style pricing. We are a local Scotty dealer, offering sales, service, and repair. Located in Fife and Seattle, come visit us today. The outdoors await you.
It's easier than ever to browse homes and connect with an agent on the go with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate's mobile app. With the app, your home search is synced across all of your devices, so you can pick up your home search anytime, anywhere. Take full advantage of an enriched, mobile-optimized map search experience. Use location services to quickly find homes near you that match your search criteria. Draw your own map boundaries to find homes in a specific area, and apply layers to view school districts, neighborhoods, zip codes, and more. The app's user-friendly design makes it easier than ever to find a home you'll love. Narrow down your search results, save your search criteria, and save your favorite homes. You can browse your saved homes in a list view that puts photos and key details like price and square footage right at your fingertips. Or check out your saved homes displayed on the map.
Yep, for sure. Oh yeah, big fish. Yeah, buddy. Nice fish. Oh, beauty. Gorgeous fish.
Bobby's on the board.
We got a good one.
Oh yeah.
Whoa. Oh, Oh, geez, come on. Nice fish. Nice fish.
Hey, welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest. Dwayne England and, of course, Dave Calhoun joining me this evening with the co-host responsibilities. And so far, you've been doing great.
It's a lot of pressure, man.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is.
Well, you swear so much typically.
It's amazing that I can shut it off because it's
like a
on,
switch, right? All right, enough with you. Hey, everybody, if you haven't heard Chris Donley on the airwaves here before, you've missed out. A very educated man. I've enjoyed over the last several years having great conversations with him. He is the fish, Region 1 fish program manager over there, Region 1 for WDFW, and a wealth of knowledge. Joining us this evening, we're going to talk a little triploids, going to talk a little kokanee, and maybe even get an update on the pike issue. Chris, how are you doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for having me, Dwayne.
Absolutely. So I called you the other day because I had seen an announcement from WDFW and, of course, some other articles. I think Northwest Sportsman's magazine wrote a little piece on it. But 450,000 triploids released into Roosevelt. And historically, I know they released triploids into Roosevelt. But I called you inquiring, hey, is this something new? Is this a new program? What's going on here?
Yeah, it's not a new program for us. In fact, it's actually a little bit understocked. The goal is to produce 750,000 fish and release them annually, and it's a great program. We rear those fish out of 2 hatcheries, one Spokane Tribal and one is Sherman Creek Hatchery, and then we bring them out at about roughly 3-4 inches in October, and we dump them into a whole array of net pens, 72 net pens across the reservoir.
Did you say 72?
72.
Okay.
Yeah, 72 net pens across the reservoir. We rear them across the winter. It's all volunteers, folks from all around the Lincoln County and other areas that volunteer to feed those fish all winter. And then we release them 6-7 inches in the spring. And some of them can be bigger, 8-10 inches. So the goal isn't necessarily to raise a catchable size fish coming out of those net pens. It's to rear fish that can attain swimming speeds fast enough to avoid being eaten by smallmouth bass and walleye. It's a very effective program, and we see rapid growth rates on those fish across the release. So they go out in May, just when the refill starts in the reservoir, to reduce on entrainment through the system. And then they rear across the reservoir all summer, and we start to see those fish in September and October at 14-15 inches, and that's what makes our fantastic winter fishery. When folks are seeing 18-20 inch fish, those are the fish that come out at 6 to 7 inches every May.
That's a pretty rapid growth rate. Now, first I want to ask you where, we'll get into the feeding habits and the differences. We'll talk on the differences between Roosevelt and Rufus triploid programs, just so there's no misconceptions. But before I get there, where do you get the egg taker? Where do these fish originate from, and how do you gather, the goal is, like you said, 750,000 released smolt. Where do these fish come from?
Yeah, we get them from 2 places. Some come from Trout Lodge, and those are contract purchased by the Spokane tribe. Mm-hmm. And then we produce roughly half of them come out of Spokane Hatchery, which is in Spokane proper. And we have a brood source there, Spokane Rainbow. And anybody that's fished rainbow in the state of Washington, unbeknownst to them, has caught a lot of Spokane Rainbow. They do very well in lakes, and they tend to have a diet preference that fits our lakes very well.
Now, these are true triploids. These are reared in the hatchery and incubated at whatever temperature that is that turns them into a true triploid. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I don't know how Trout Lodge triploids are fished. That's proprietary to the industry.
Okay.
But theirs are all feminized, meaning that every egg you purchase is a female fish, which is sort of the ideal triploid, right? Male triploids will still exhibit all the meristics of a spawning fish, but they have no viable milk. Female triploids don't even produce ovaries. So all of their growth is then expressed purely as body growth versus gonad growth. And,
right.
Those are prime then for fish farming and all kinds of things. The triploids that we bring in from Spokane Hatchery are dual sex, so there are both males and females in that population.
Gotcha. Okay, let's speak a little bit on the food source. So, for all those that have been following, well, even we went over and enjoyed a couple days over there on Rufus. Took advantage of the large volume of oversized triploids released into there this year, and the carryover from last year due to lack of pressure because of COVID. There definitely is an abundance of big, oversized, small head, big-bodied triploids to be had on Rufus. Now, those are artificially fed, obviously. It's almost like they're sitting at the end of a conveyor belt with all that feed just dumping in front of their face that filters through these net pens. Talk a little bit about that in comparison to what the triploids in Roosevelt are up against and how they acquire their nutrient base.
Yeah, so assuming that almost all the forage that fish get in Rufus is somewhat related to that hatchery system up there, or the fish farm there, we don't have that in Lake Roosevelt. We talked about net pens, but we're not feeding at the rates that they do at the fish farm, so there isn't surplus feed, and the fish don't sit under it. So our fish, they rely mostly on zooplankton and insects. And when I talked about picking a stock that has the right diet preference, our stock of fish that we choose really do kind of focus in on those two types of forage. And in Roosevelt, there's a lot of zooplankton out there, and that's what fish eat. And so, you would say to me, well, great, triploids can gather in enough calories off of this zooplankton to grow to those same sizes they do in Rufus. And that's not necessarily how it works, because the game that's played is those fish are swimming through the water column and they're picking out these specific zooplankton, or if they're very dense, just kind of opening their mouth and gathering multiple at one time. But they hit a terminal growth. And what I mean by that is at some point between 22 and 24 inches, the number of calories they have to put out to obtain that forage meets up against the number of calories it takes that they take in when they eat it. And so there is no expectation that you're going to see those really large-bodied triploid rainbows in Lake Roosevelt like you do in Rufus. If we had more fish forage and we had a stock that was specific to eating fish forage, so like a Lake Pend Oreille rainbow trout in the Kokanee population that feeds them, we might see that in Lake Roosevelt. But we simply do not have the forage available to do that. And they're really nice fish, and we see commonly rainbows in that 22 to 24 inch range, but that's pretty much max growth for them in there. It's really rare to see one bigger than that. That's a triploid anyway. Occasionally we see a wild one, and but not very often. They seem to be more proportionate, like a normal, rainbow. Something, more resembles a small steelhead. Like the body taper is
they're not football shaped.
They're not
like
football shaped, right? They look more like a normal fish. So, and that would explain the reason why, is because these fish are swimming amongst that extremely large body of water and foraging for themselves, not being fed on a treadmill. So,
I think it's fair to say they're not laying on the couch getting the free calories.
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
They got to go out and chase it down, and that's going to make that morphology.
What's it going to take to bump that program to $750,000 on your plant? Have you guys ever reached that, or is 450, 500-ish kind of the max ceiling that you've been able to maintain?
No, that's a good question. No, we intend to get to 750,000. And, whenever you're farming a live organism, things happen, and you have predation at the nets and loss at the hatchery. And our goal is always to hit 750,000. In many years, we do. We've been struggling the last few to get there, but we'll get it all figured out, and we'll be back there before too long. And I anticipate in the next year or two, we'll be back at that full stocking amount.
Nice. Let's switch gears for a little bit. Let's get an update, if you have any, on what's going on with the kokanee this year. Early, that winter fishery, and as we rolled into early spring, seemed to be performing pretty well for a number of folks. Saw a lot of real nice size kokanee coming out of there, as would be expected. As we roll in through the rest of spring and touch the front edge of summer, what do you anticipate that kokanee fishery looking like?
Well, I definitely know they're there. They're not nearly as abundant as they were last year, which, the size of the fish shows us that, because we saw some, on average, larger size fish this year. Mm-hmm. Kokanee grow density dependent, meaning the more there are, the smaller they grow. But we've had a really odd water year. We didn't have a substantial drawdown, which usually pulls those fish into the lower reservoir and makes them susceptible in the late winter, early fall, spring months. And then as you get refill and that sort of rebloom of zooplankton that sort of pulls those fish into the really important places in that lower reservoir, and anglers find them in May and June. That hasn't necessarily happened because refill's been kind of slow because it was already full. So the habits are a little bit different than what I would think we would normally see for kokanee there. Having said that, some of the folks I know that are very good kokanee anglers on that reservoir, they're still finding them. And they're finding them daily, maybe not limits for a boat of 4 or 5 people, but there's definitely fish there to be had. So if you ask me to look into a crystal ball and tell you what it's going to be like in June and July, this is maybe the year, and my crystal ball is pretty cloudy. But I'd also say, the chances are if you go, you're going to find a few here. Typically late June, early July is a really good time to look for them in the reservoir. Trust your electronics and you'll see them. They'll be somewhere between 5 feet under the surface and probably 40 feet. You just got to go find them.
Yeah, good point. Good tip. Hey, give us an update before we get out here. What's going on with the Pike Monitoring? Are they continuing to catch some of those in the nets? And do they have a number of them of large size that's concerning? Or where's that program at currently?
Yeah, so, we've been working on that since 2014 in Lake Roosevelt. And like everything, I think this is kind of a broken record for my agency, but we didn't have a lot of money to work on it, right? So catch as catch can using Bonneville funds and our own state funds. We've been slowly working in cooperation with the Colville tribe and the Spokane tribe, gill netting, so suppressing pike populations in the whole northern portion of the reservoir. So really the top half is where pike occur in Roosevelt. And we did pretty well. As catch can, where we found money, we did well, and we thought we were turning the tide a little bit, and at least seeing catch rates per gill net stay flat, and if not go down a little bit. Over the last couple of years, thanks to the state legislature and some help from the public, encouraging them to fund us, we've had considerably larger budgets, around $250,000 the last 2 years, and then now we've got solid funding at about $250,000 a year. That's going to really help us improve our ability to be out there and continue to suppress those. And we're starting to see in the last 2 years a dropping catch rate on pike. I'm optimistic that we're getting our arms around it. We're keeping them in that northern half of the reservoir. We're not detecting very many in the bottom half. We monitor almost monthly using environmental DNA to detect whether pike have gotten through Grand Coulee, Chief Joe, and into the anadromous portion of the Columbia, and we have not found them down there.
Oh.
So I'm really optimistic that we're doing a pretty good job there.
Yeah.
Time will tell. That's the trick. But if you'd asked me 5 years ago how I felt, I don't think I'd have felt as good about it as I do today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good news. That is reassuring, absolutely, because, our early conversations were sounding quite different, not a lot of optimism and a lot more concern. So it sounds like you guys are doing a great job, and I'm happy to hear that there's some funding secured to help you in continuing to monitor this and rid that area as much as we can of that species, simply because they don't belong there and they're detrimental to obviously the survival of the kokanee and the rainbow and everything else you guys are putting so much money and effort into. Before we go, I have one good question here. How does adding all those triploids impact the kokanee in Roosevelt? Is there a competition for food, or is there plenty to go around?
No, we've done multiple sort of carrying capacity studies, I guess is the term you would use, to look at the overall abundance of forage in there, and then how it relates to stocking density. And pretty much all those studies say that you could stock somewhere between 2 and 5 million rainbow trout before you exhaust all that forage.
Holy cow.
So, we put a 750,000 rainbow in there, and then at large kokanee, I think you'd be optimistic to think there's more than a couple 100,000 of them.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty much limitless forage. And then if you look at kokanee growth rates and the size that we see there, and you look at those rainbow growth rates that we talked about earlier, that's really not saying that anybody's experiencing competition in there for food.
Right.
They're all doing quite well, and there's probably room for more fish, but there isn't room for more fish in our wallet, right? We can't afford more, so that's kind of where we're at.
Perfect. Well, Chris Donley, always a pleasure. Appreciate your insight as usual. It's always very informative, and don't be a stranger. Glad to have you on.
Thanks, Dwayne. Have a good evening.
All right, man. Have a great night. See ya. Chris Donley, WDFW Region 1 Fish Program Manager, wealth of knowledge, Dave. I've even ran into him over there fishing before. We just sit there on the shoreline and just talk about all things kind of on the science side of it, because I feel as an angler, the more you kind of understand on how these fisheries are built and what WDFW is thinking and how they build these programs and the availability of these fish, it also helps you in your pursuit of success.
Well, yeah, there's a few takeaways from this. First of all, that most people with Fish and Wildlife, whether it's Washington or Oregon, are really good people trying to do a good thing. They are fighting with a lot of low budgets and a lot of problems and old equipment and all these things.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're trying to make more fish for us, right?
Yep.
Now then the politics get involved and it ruins everything. So that's that, and the fact that bringing these fisheries aware to people that didn't know, they go, oh, I didn't know that they had kokanee and those there, or I didn't know there were pike in there, and just bringing the information up so people can actually maybe start targeting those fish. I learned a lot this last few years about tiger muskie that they put in Merwin and stuff. Right. And boy, that's an awesome fishery.
So Roosevelt's one of those gyms that, so if we go fishing in my backyard here, we get a 5 fish limit, right? You can have a mixed bag of kokanee and trout, or 5 trout, 5 kokanee, whatever, a mixed bag. Over there, you're allowed 2 of those wild kokanee. You may retain. There are some hatchery kokanee, though, that program, and we didn't even go there with Chris, but there are some hatchery kokanee in there. But you can retain 2 of those wild kokanee, and you can get your limit of 5 triploids, 5 trout. So a little bonus fishery for you. Okay, we're going to jump out for a quick break. So Dave, don't know if you're aware, last Thursday, we attempted kind of a live show from the boat deck.
It's not so easy, is it?
Well. Connectivity issues, streaming to the wrong platform. A couple people had a nice little laugh about that. Hey, we do what we can. We're just a bunch of hacks here.
Hey, I did it for a long time, and finding places where you get enough service to stream video, and I know all the challenges. So everything you can do is. Yep, I get it.
So with that being said, we did have a great day out on the water to a point. I mean, we ran into a few issues, but we want to bring that day to you. We start off in the morning with Tommy and the crew, introduced to the guys who went out with us that day, and we did land back inside, fishing the shallower water closer to shore, just based on what unfolded with the boat. And we talk about that little water and the fuel issue we run into. And you're 50 miles out, you don't take chances.
This is real world stuff, and sometimes by your misery you can bring joy to others.
Yeah, there you go. So this next segment, you'll enjoy it. It's very educational. Again, Tommy, my partner here, week in and week out, does a fantastic job. Very serious on the water. Things to consider when you go out there. Safety is paramount. And we get into some fish, and we have a pretty good day. And you'll get to see exactly, Dave, how excited young Thomas Donlin gets when big fish are gaffed aboard on his corn-fed boat that he is so proud of, the 29-foot Guadalupe, as it were. So we'll jump out for a quick break. We come back. You'll be with us in Sekiu, starting off that morning, and everything that unfolds right here at Fish Hunt Northwest.
A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima boats are manufactured with pride right here in Bremerton, Washington. Arima Boats offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. With literally thousands of Arima boats on the water throughout the Pacific Northwest, Arima boats are a proven hull design that offers incredible fuel economy and all of the amenities that a serious angler is looking for. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Arima boats are designed to maximize deck space while also providing ample seating. Contact us today at Arima Boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
End of Watch Ride to Remember is a group from the state of Washington traveling across the country to honor fallen officers from 2019. End of Watch organizer Jagrut Shah says they want to show departments who've lost partners and friends they are not alone.
I wanted to bridge this gap that we have and bring back to the department, let the deputies or the officers know that their lost has not been forgotten.
In 2019, 146 officers were killed in the line of duty, and End of Watch Ride to Remember is on a mission to pay their respects to each of them.
For us, it's just important realizing that the men and women in blue everywhere should remember that they haven't been forgotten. We're not forgetting them. We want the families to know that their loved ones have not been forgotten.
The 10 to 60 forecast is where the small craft advisory is, but there's a huge weather gradient between the 10-mile mark and the 60-mile mark. Okay, and what we're kind of counting on is that, you know, the further out we go, it's going to get, you know, crappier and crappier, but it's not going to get so crappy that we can't fish, right? But here's the deal. If we get out there and it's just a washing machine or it's just snotty, we're basically going to turn around and basically head inshore, and we're going to fish lings and bass and maybe some inshore halibut spots. So you've got, there's actually 4 fire extinguishers in here. Then underneath the seat, there's your standard flares, and then you've also got your parachute flares. The parachute flares are the ones that go up 1,000 feet in the air, deploy a parachute and loiter in the air for a number of minutes. Okay, so that's in here. In the bow, there's 8 life jackets, and they're in packs. Like this. There's 4 in each one. This is the ditch bag. So we've got a bunch of medical equipment inside the bag, and then on the side you've got radio, and then you've also got the EPIRB. Okay, so the way this works is you take this tab on the top and you flip it all the way over to the other side. And when you flip it over to the other side, you're going to break off a little pin there, and it's going to activate it, and you're going to set it off, and then the cavalry will come to pick us up. Okay? So it's very important if we have to ditch that this goes with us.
Hey, good morning, guys. Dwayne England, Tommy Donley, Captain Tommy Donley.
That's right.
Out here on the carnivorous, the 29-foot Defiance Guadalupe. And we are hitting the ocean, buddy.
We are. Well, the plan is to hit the ocean. We've got a small craft advisory we're up against. The inshore forecast is actually pretty good. It's saying 10 to 20. I say pretty good. It's all relative to the season. In halibut season, 10 to 20 is a good day, right?
Right. So we're going to go out if we can.
Yeah.
We're going to hit the Halibut Grounds if we can.
Right.
And we're going to do a couple scrapes, and if it gets a little sporty, as they say, because we're on a small craft, 29-foot Guadalupe, I think I mentioned that, we'll sneak back inside and fish the inside.
That's right. That's right.
So at the minimum, we're going to at least get into some nice lings and some sea bass and just have a great day. Sunshine today. Really no rain in the forecast, but it's the wind.
I don't think we're going to get sunshine out there. It's going to be foggy and dreary.
Yeah.
But it'll still be good.
But we got an option. It's a halibut day here. We're out of Sekiu. Got to run out of Sekiu to get past Nia Bay, hit the ocean, the big water, and go see what we can get. We got the guys wrapping up baits. Look at that, Tommy. Got a tray full of trout and kokanee.
Oh, very nice. I like it. The squid herring combo. Squid trout combo.
Squid trout combo. Yeah. Got a little fire brine on there, a little chartreuse, so just to give it a little glow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, tasty treats for those down deep, and we are going to be hitting the water, so we'll be bringing it to you just in a few minutes. Here we go.
Where are you guys gonna ride?
I'm gonna ride in the stern.
Okay.
We are inshore, and we're in about 70, 75 feet of water, 65 feet of water. We catch a lot of rockfish and sea bass. I decided to switch it up. There's some big ling cod down here. You never know, there might be a halibut hanging around. Pretty simple rig, 8-inch spreader bar. This is a 1-pound pipe jig with no hooks, okay? I'm using that as my weight. It's the whole stick lead theory. Long and cylindrical, gets in and out of the rocks easier, doesn't get hung up as much. 8-inch spreader bar, got about a 3-foot leader, 2.5-foot leader, 50-pound mono, and a sliding hook rig because my trout and kokanee are always of various sizes. This has been cured in Potskie's fire brine chartreuse, which allows the fish to maintain a real high level of natural shine, but it also gives it an unbelievable amount of UV when it gets down into the depths where there's not as much light available. So let's put this down. It's worked historically for both Chinook. It's worked for halibut and big ling cod out here at Sekiu and Westport. So we're gonna drop it on down and see if we can't get another one.
Showtime!
It's showtime, baby!
Showtime, baby! Let's get it on!
It was freaking head shaking like crazy. That can't be bombing the way it was shaking.
Okay.
There's no way.
Okay, just keep reeling. Reel. Not such big like swings up and down, just nice and easy. Just keep it tight, more like just short cranks. There you go, and then go down and reel up just like that. Whatever you do, don't bring his head out of the water. not so high, just nice and easy half bumps. Are you Spectre all the way to the leader?
All the way to the speed bar. Yeah.
Okay.
Leader. Anything.
Deep color right here, halibut, halibut, halibut. Mark, get it back up gap. Keep coming, keep coming. Keep coming. Yeah! Yeah, boy! Yeah! Here, watch out, watch out, watch out. Get him, Tommy!
We already got him. Tommy's on him. Put some belly on him.
Oh! Yeah! Yeah, baby! Oh, yes! Nice fish, bro. Ate that kokanee, owned it.
Huh?
Yes!
Look at that. Shallow water.
Oh. 60? What do you think? 75?
Yeah.
Something like that. Biggest halibut on a hand crank.
No, he's bigger than that.
65,
Yeah.
75,
Yeah.
75 pounds.
He's probably close to 70.
Nice size fish.
How about that?
High quality.
Oh, nice, dude. In shallow water, 67 feet of water.
Kokanee.
Do it. Everybody put a spreader bar on.
Grab those trout and kokanee. We got plenty to go around. Because Nia Bay is closed and because we are leaving out of Sekiu, to get to the area we intended on fishing this morning for halibut, how long of a run is that?
So, you know, to make up the difference between Sekiu and Nia Bay first, that's an additional 28 miles round trip, about 14 miles each way. The spot that I had picked out was about 55 to 60 miles from the dock here at Sekiu. And so it's quite the haul and it's quite the commitment.
Yeah, you said it's going to be about a 3-hour ride with the
With
weather
some weather.
going.
Yep.
Yeah, with a little bit of weather, and it was a bit bumpy. And we're heading out. We got 2 hours, a good 2 hours in,
yeah,
maybe
2 hours
2.5 hours. I think we're,
Yeah.
you know, we were within 5 to 8 miles of our destination.
Yep.
Experienced a little issue, a little hiccup. Why don't you explain to folks kind of what we experienced and your method of approach, recognizing we are how many miles offshore now? We did have a buddy boat, which we'll remind you all about in conversation with a friend of ours. But things, you know, as was said often today, expect the unexpected.
Yeah, well, where it started going wrong is we were talking about kokanee.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just went downhill from there. But no, we had we're still trying to figure out exactly, you know, what issues we were having. But basically, we suspect it could be fuel related. Not quite sure exactly yet, but we started losing power. Swapped out the fuel water separators. That didn't seem to do it, and we actually dumped them four times total.
4 times. Which means we stopped, shut down motors, you belly crawled on the deck of your boat, filter wrench in hand, dealing with fuel and water issues, dumping them out into buckets, checking to see. And we did have and produced a little bit of cloudy fuel, put them back in place, get back going, motoring on out, shut down again, alarms going off. So cycled through that process 4 times, finally decided
we got to head back.
We got to head back. So we were this close to getting on the Halibut Grounds this morning. We were the sea was conducive to fishing. Had we landed out there, it really wasn't that bad. We had a weather window. You had made it a point when we left to say probably about 1 or 2 o'clock things are going to start turning up. So if we can get out there, we can fish.
Right. Yep.
And that was the goal. But we had
an engine deal. When you're way out there in the ocean like that, you don't take chances.
Well, and I don't want to say it was like flat calm out there because it wasn't flat.
No.
I mean, we were taking some spray.
We were committed, yes.
Yeah, and it was it was slow going. I think we were averaging about like 15 to 17 knots.
Yeah.
Usually I cruise at about 30 knots, so it was pretty slow.
Yep.
But it was never dangerous. The seas were never big.
Right.
You know, technically that was a small craft advisory is what they called it.
Yeah.
But it was, really not a small craft advisory, where at least where we were in that quadrant. The thing you got to remember is in these big NOAA marine quadrants for the forecast, it's a huge area, right? It's the 10 to 60 mile forecast. Well, we are not linearly from shore 60 miles out, right? And so there could be a corner of that big square where, it is a small craft advisory, but we were not, we weren't in it.
Yeah. So ultimately made the decision to turn around. Lo and behold, the engines performed flawlessly. The fuel issue we you decided is based on certain conditions that are repetitive as we're heading out, right?
It could be how the tank is oriented when it's picking up fuel, how the fuel's sloshing back and forth.
So we got some diagnostics to do whether or not we're able to fish the next few days. But that being said, we headed back into inshore and decided to go after lingcod and bass, rockfish.
Yeah.
And it turned different soft plastics, 1-2 ounce headed jigs, lead headed jigs, and that's your go-to.
4-inch big hammer, anchovy, Pacific chovy on a 2.5 ounce head.
Yeah.
And then we put a shrimp fly above that, and that accounts for a lot of fish in the deck.
Whacked and stacked. I was running more of a split tail purple grub, kind of a scampi, and then also a red. Caught them both on that, both lingcod and the sea bass, and name a variety of fish. We caught almost everything that swims out there.
And then we had one lingcod come up that was pretty nice. It was caught on a live bait on a black rockfish.
So Gary is catching. He's retrieving a black rockfish that he hooked up on, and that lingcod, as you know, grabbed hold and committed the whole way.
Oh yeah,
that was the biggest lingcod of the day.
Buried the rod tip in the water. Took line with the fish in his mouth.
Yep.
But we still got him.
After the fish box was getting pretty full, we were getting maybe 10 or 15 to go. I decided I was going to go back to dropping some bait down. I brought plenty of bait with me for bigger lings and halibut out on the Halibut Grounds. So I had brined up a number of the smaller kokanee we caught this last week. I know blasphemous to think we were using kokanee for bait. But
they were pretty small. I mean,
they were.
They're too small to eat.
They're 10 and 11 inches, and if you want to fillet those out all day long, knock yourself out. I look at that as bait to upgrade or high grade the results. Right?
Yeah.
So
we call that a magic trick. By the way.
They call that a magic trick. I brought a number of trout, brought a number of kokanee, and we didn't exactly get on the Halibut Grounds. So I thought, well, I'm going to drop one of these down for a bigger lingcod. Because we were catching some pretty decent sized lingcod, and there's got to be bigger ones down there, and I figured I would entice them with a bait. The kokanee flat out seemed to get it done. We did one pass after I switched over, and just got annihilated.
You got bent.
Reeled up, kokanee completely gone, and thought, well, that was interesting. You and I were like, we're going to do
we need to do this drift again.
So we come through on that drift. I dropped down another kokanee that I had spun up while Tommy was repositioning the boat. He says, let him go. It was less than a minute, and this lingcod rod tip absolutely buried almost under the boat.
That ugly stick was Brian's.
And then we happened to realize that, no, this isn't bottom, and it's probably not a lingcod. Pick that thing up, Tom.
You always have to wonder, though, right? Because it's like, was that a head shake? Or was that the drag not being exactly smooth and going, And I know you're a great fisherman, so I'm like, I got to trust Dwayne on this one.
You had to trust me. You asked me 3 times. Is it bottom?
Is it bottom?
No, but it's something on the bottom.
Yeah. And so the answer is...
Proof is in the pudding.
No, it is not bottom.
That right there. And we were, believe it or not, 65 feet of water. Using kokanee for bait. You guys have heard me for years talk about kokanee and trout and the benefits of, and at times applicable, they flat out work. Not, real huge trout and kokanee. We're talking 10 to 12, maybe a 14-incher if you're out on the deep halibut grounds and fishing for really big fish. Deep water lingcod with really big mouths. You can go with that 12 to 14-inch rainbow. And out of Westport in the past, we've used them and they work great. Simply brining these up in pot skis fire brine chartreuse, adding in some fire dye and chartreuse. And the reason I use the chartreuse and have switched from the green is because we talked about the value in kokanee and how shiny they are and reflective. And when you use the chartreuse, it adds a hint of color to the underside of your bait fish. Okay, it's going to add a light green to anything that's lighter or white. Maybe the fins will take on some color, but overall, those kokanee, Tommy, we don't have any to show you right now, are just as chrome as can be.
They're way more chrome than a trout.
So,
and that's what I was asking you, right? So when you catch trout, I'm like, what do the trout look like? Are they dark?
White,
are they bright?
Kind of rainbow,
you know, in my opinion, in terms of the ones that are a little bit darker, I'd rather not even. I mean, those are crab bait, or you can eat them if you want to.
Yeah.
But if they don't have a natural shine to them to begin with, you're not going to be able to add that in for some of the trout.
Yeah.
Whereas a kokanee's it's like a Christmas tree lighting up.
Yep.
I mean, it's just bright, shiny, it's perfect.
Well, because we're in that 65, 75 foot of water, and we had basically full sun today. It was a beautiful day out here, even with some wind and some chop and some waves. That light is penetrating deep in that clear ocean. And when it gets down there and refracts off of those kokanee, and with that UV on there, when it gets down to the point where natural light is done penetrating, and you go beyond that, you're still going to draw that UV light reflecting off of those cured baits. So if you haven't used it or still are questioning, yes, it's legal. You are fishing fish caught from fresh bodies of water, and you can use them as bait in saltwater. And trout kokanee just worked fantastic. And this halibut is the one we got today. It was in shallow water. It's just by chance, you know. We were going after bigger lings. And then,
there's a lot of these bigger halibut in shallower water. And you'll find them kind of like one at a location, but they're not going to work to get your offering. So your offering has to be right place, right time, and it's got to be a slow presentation, and it's got to meet all of those requirements.
So the nice thing here, the key on this thing is you can literally feel it. You're in water, even with a little bit of current speed and boat control by the captain. You want to fish as vertical as you can. And you're basically banging that thing like you would a pipe jig off the bottom. Nice thing is you don't have any hooks to get wrapped up into the rock and the different types of bottom structure. And you can literally feel that thing land standing on end. And when it bangs, you simply lift the rod up. And it bangs, and sometimes you hit that shallow little bump and your rod's way up here. You just reel down. You just always keep it within a foot or two of the bottom, constantly banging that copper pipe, your lead weight off the bottom. It makes that noise. It gets their curiosity, and to hold it there for a minute and pause just to see if a fish is going to pick it up is basically the way you do it. Maintaining that contact. Don't let it lay there too long. Don't allow it to fall over. You can feel the difference once you get a knack for it, but you can literally just sit there and dance that pipe jig at 1 pound weight on the bottom, standing straight up, and you're just basically pogo sticking it along, and it works fantastic. I think that's about it.
That's it. We got some work to do.
We got a lot of fish to clean. We got some cleanup on the boat to do. We got to figure out tomorrow. So we're gonna get out of here. Appreciate anybody that jumped on tonight. And short and sweet, but we're on the road, bringing it to you live the best we can. And we're going to continue to do that. We just got to get this whole mess figured out.
Yeah.
The beard. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're out of here. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be safe.
Well, there you go, Dave. That was our day on Sekiu last Thursday. Instead of being here doing the show, we opted to stay out a little later than normal, and so we tried to go live, and it didn't quite work out. But that kind of wraps it up for us in that regards. I'm thinking I'm going to hopefully get up there with Tommy one more day. You know, our halibut season will continue to get pushed out, I believe, a little further, just based on quota and the lack of opportunity to get out on the water. Gosh, you know, that day last Thursday with the little weather window we had, and when we had those motor issues, we were out there shutting down and kind of bobbing around the ocean, you know, through 2.5, almost 3 hours out there, 50 miles or so. and it was fishable. We were in some pretty bumpy water, but had we landed on the Halibut Grounds, as a few other boats did, they did a few scrapes, got their halibut, got back in, came back inside, and that afternoon you could see the weather was pretty nice, sunny. Waves weren't too bad, wind wasn't too bad. We ended up getting into a good number of rockfish and sea bass, got into a good handful of lingcod, and landed that nice big halibut. So
I wish I would have gone and done tuna and halibut and all that stuff when I was younger, and could tolerate the salt water more.
It beats you up.
I feel like I'm missing out on so much stuff. I would love to go tuna fish. I would love to go hit halibut. I would love to get out there and do more in the salt, and it just messes with me.
Doesn't work well with you.
It doesn't, and it's sad, but yeah.
Yeah, I rely on the patch, as pretty much everybody on the boat that day had a patch on, and it worked for some. And
I just heard about there's some electronic bracelet.
Yeah, they got a bracelet watch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an Apple Watch or something, but it either sends some kind of current or basically messes with your timing or your body or something.
Yeah, I did a lot of research on it. Tommy's kind of looking into it too. It goes on like a watch, and you set it on the front side like where the watch would be. The back side, it has a little electronic pad. It sends an electronic impulse in between the tendons on your forearm, okay? That transmits electronic signal up your arm, and it goes across your diaphragm area, and it interrupts the nerve bundle that sends the signal to your brain that, hey, I'm getting nauseated, hey, I need to throw up. So it interrupts that communication between your stomach getting upset and your brain receiver. So your brain never receives the message that, hey, my stomach's getting upset, so you basically ward off.
Why wouldn't you wear that all the time?
Yeah, it literally says on the informational packet that this is the relief for anything that is associated with nausea. It says hangover, morning sickness.
Holy crap! Where was this all my college? Right?
Yeah. So and it lists a host of things, motion sickness, and a handful of other things. But it does in fact list hangover, which is pretty impressive.
As soon as I heard about that, I'm like, we talk about different patches, medicines, ginger, and all these different things, but I thought, well, that might be worth a shot. So if I could just put one on, maybe run out of Tillamook or something, just go out into some lumpiness and see if it actually works.
Yeah.
Not go out 50 miles and puke my guts out through a patch and a wristband.
There's a couple different brands out there. You can get them on Amazon anywhere from $120 to $230.
It's worth it to buy one and try it because I want to get out so bad.
They're rechargeable. Charge lasts 12 hours, so it's going to get you the better part of a full day, right? And it is effective on 85% of people. So it's pretty high.
I'm always the exclusion.
You're going to be in that 15 percentile. Yeah, Jordan would be in the 15 percentile. So, all right. Hey, appreciate everybody sticking through on that one. I hope you learned a little something. Hope you enjoyed that segment. We sure had a fun time bringing it to you. I'm going to jump out for a quick break. For you kokanee anglers out there and those that are looking at taking on some kokanee fishing as the months progress here, stay tuned. We're going to jump into the bait lab. We're going to break down some options for you when putting together baits and scent, and how to put scent into your terminal tackle to entice those kokanee and up your game and put kokanee in the cooler. So don't go anywhere, stick through the break. We'll be back right here at Fish Hunt Northwest. Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21-foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
New days, new beginnings. New friends, new loves, new dreams, new goals, new scenery, new job. No matter what the next chapter holds, Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate will be there to help you find the new that's right for your lifestyle at any stage of your life. Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. Expect better.
Hey, welcome back, Fish on Northwest. We are here in the Bait Lab. I want to remind everybody that Bait Lab installments are presented by Max Lure, and there's actually a number of items here on the table tonight as we get into kokanee and trout fishing this time of year that are available through Max Lure. Check out everything they have to offer at maxlure.com. Now with that, I want to talk a little bit about baits and scents. For those of you that have followed me for a number of years, you know that I am still currently and will probably for the end of days be with Potski's bait company because of all the fantastic options they offer. And now they've even upped their game the last couple of years in the realm of kokanee and trout and various scents and oils and things. They've teamed up with Atlas Mikes a couple of years ago, and together collectively between Atlas Mikes and Potski's and their fire gel and the options that we have, scenting your presentations has never been easier. Okay, so first I want to talk a little bit about corn. Potski's has been making shoe peg corn for kokanee and trout fishing for years. So folks will ask me, why would you purchase corn like Potski's in a small jar that is colored and cooked versus just simply buying for $1 whatever a can of Jolly Green Giant shoe peg corn? Well, I can tell you why. The corn produced by Potski's, yes, it has various colors that you can choose from, and keep in mind that that also has a UV property to it, so you're adding more UV to your presentation. The other side of that is that it's cooked, and because it's cooked, it doesn't go bad. You literally open up a jar of this corn, and I'll show you how to add in some oil and add different scents to it, and you keep that in a refrigerator. I started this season out fishing corn that I had added oil to last season, the end of last season. It's been sitting in the refrigerator for about 8 months. Pull it out, go out to the lake, put it on as an attractant with my lure, catching fish. Why? Because it doesn't go bad. It's cooked, it doesn't mold, it doesn't deteriorate. The oil stays good because it's in the refrigerator. It doesn't break down. And it's preserved, and it just hangs in there. Now, if you color up, add some of your various dyes you can buy at local retail stores. Put some dye into your shoe peg corn, your Jolly Green Giant, whatever, and put that in the fridge. Over the course of a couple months, it's going to mold. It's going to go bad. So it does work, but I stand by and stick by with what I've been using for years. I like the color properties of the corn, the pinks, the reds, greens, yellows, natural. The white is fantastic. And I like the fact that it's been preserved or cooked so that it's not going to go bad. How do we add scent to it? Well, it's pretty easy. Mike's has a number of different scents, and you can get it in your glow scents in your oil form. It's a little less viscosity, a little thinner, or you can even get it in your lotions, which is the Lunker lotion, a little thicker, but if you stir it up real good, mix it up, it also works extremely well. I just take basically a jar of Potski's corn, and I'm just going to dump that into a container. Okay, and again, you can pick any color that you choose. This here just happens to be the pink. Pink works extremely well. The dark red works extremely well. I probably use the pink and the dark red and the natural more than any of the other colors, but high usage on the pink here. And believe it or not, it's just this simple. I have 2 bottles of Lunker lotion here. One is tuna, one is garlic. We know for certain that the combination of tuna and garlic make an extremely good combination when it comes to attracting kokanee. Now, this isn't rocket science. It doesn't have to be very specific, but I do like to put in about equal parts. So there's the tuna. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic on here and just simply squeeze that in. And it's about that simple. I'm going to stir that around with a fork. Now see, this here is a lot thicker than the glow oil that you'll put in, but this stuff works really well as well. Okay. Man, you can smell that from here. So now that is a good combination of pink corn. It's got the tuna garlic on there. I would simply put that back in the jar. And then what I like to do is I take my jars and I literally write on there what is in here. So this is the natural corn. Believe it or not, I add herring oil into here and just write herring on. Herring works extremely well. Basically, it comes down, you know, your limitation is your imagination. Any of these color combinations and scents are going to work very well, and you don't know which scents work better until you at least give them a try. A couple years ago, I started using crawfish. Okay, crawfish, and especially now that Potskie's came out with this fire gel in the crawfish, love to put this on the back of my Dodgers. Also the crawfish oil from Mike's, I like to take that and put it on the pink or the natural corn. Crawfish works extremely well. It has a very strong fishy smell to it. Kokanee seem to respond to that very well. Here's some Lunker lotion in squid. Squid works extremely well. The key here is that I carry with me a tray of scents. I have a box full of all these different corns with different scents in them, and I got a lineup of different gels that I can use to put onto the backs of my Dodger. Okay, I'm going to set the corn over here. So you take your Dodger, and for those of you who do not currently put any scent on the back of your Dodger, you're missing out. So the lure is gonna drag through the water on your troll. It's gonna put out a certain amount of scent. You can put oils and things on the back of your Dodgers, and it lasts for a while, and then you're going to have to reapply. So the oils work, the Lunker lotion works, but over time it washes off. If you have not used Potskie's fire gel, this stuff, and here's a couple of my favorites right here, the crawfish and the garlic, extremely strong, smells. All of these fire gels are extremely natural in how they smell, and they work really, really well. Not just for kokanee either. They're going to work extremely well on your spoons and whatnot when you're out there in Puget Sound, the ocean fisheries also. So your herring aid spoons and whatnot, you put that herring or anchovy fire gel on, it lasts literally for hours. The smell stays, the color, which isn't a big deal, it also stays, but the key is it stays on the hardware that you put it on. I just like to take some of this fire gel, and it doesn't take much, and I just literally smear that on the back of this Dodger. And I will run that for hours with that extra scent on there, okay? And again, it doesn't take much. A jar of this stuff would last you for an extremely long time. That's basically it. If you're not putting scent on your Dodger, you're missing out. You're gonna find that more fish are drawn to your presentation with that extra scent in. And actually, when you drop this down into the water, you will see kind of the oil coming off of here, okay? But the key is that it lasts for a long time. You don't have to constantly reapply. If you're fishing for hours upon hours, you may end up putting a little more on. The other thing is you can completely wipe that off, get a different scent out. Maybe I want to put a really strong garlic scent on there, smear that on and fish that for a while, see how it performs. The other thing you can do, if you're fishing 3 or 4 different rods, put a different scent of fire gel on each Dodger. Put different corn makeups of color and scent on different combinations. I will run shrimp on the back of the Dodger. I will run a shrimp anise combination of corn on that lure. The next one over, I'll put tuna on the back of the Dodger, and I'll run a tuna garlic scent and corn presentation on that lure. Then I'll move to crawfish. Then I'll move to herring. I'll put those 4 out there, and as our buddy Buzz Ramsey always used to say, hey, let the fish tell you what they want. Maybe it's the difference in the color or size or build of your lure. Maybe you're running 2 similar, same lures, similar Dodgers, different scents. Really key in on letting the fish let you know which one they're going to chase after. Once you get it down, or after the first hour or 2, make sure you're switching out to present most of your offerings in those scents that they seem to be attracted to. All lakes are different. One lake may be really productive if you use a lot of tuna garlic. Other lakes that seem to have more of a shrimp anise. Some lakes it's a combination thereof. Don't be afraid to put 1 kernel of shrimp anise on one hook and, believe it or not, a kernel of tuna garlic on the other. That combination, multi-scent, sometimes is the key to draw those kokanee in and get a response. And remember now, A lot of our kokanee lures are pretty small in presentation. This is the old classic rassicle, or a variation thereof. A lot of my lures resemble that with these LP squids and whatnot on them. Not a lot of differences here. Different blades, different size presentations, little gold blades, little candy from YBC. Got some Max Lure smiley blades and all these. The key here though is when I go to put the corn on these hooks, it's pretty simple. Put one on here. For those that fish kokanee all the time, this is nothing new. We're just going to push that up like that. I like it to be in line with. Now you don't want to overload your lure with a bunch of corn, because if you do, it puts extra drag on your lure and it can actually minimize the action. That's just going to go through the water column, dragging those two little pieces of corn. Doesn't look like much, but the amount of scent that that's putting off, because once you mix that oil onto that corn and put it in the container, put it in your fridge, it's literally just going to sit in there and absorb into that corn over time. And the longer that it's in that oil, the more scent that it retains, the longer that scent lasts. The other nice thing about this Potski corn is because it's cooked, it's a little bit hardened, and because it's a little firmer, it literally stays on your hook so much better than soft corn right out of the can. Fish can hit this. As you know, you watch those rods going off and then they stop. Those fish are hitting on them, pecking at them, doesn't hook up. With soft corn, oftentimes you reel that in, your bait's gone. With the Potski corn, because of the firmness of it, those fish can beat on that lure for a bit, and you can reel it up and check, and more times than not, you're still going to have the corn on your lure. So there's durability in using these colored corns and adding scent to them. And for me, at least speaking personally, over the years it has worked fantastic, and I stick with it. Before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody, this here is one of Dave Calhoun's rods. This is that 8-foot one-piece kokanee rod that he's building. $125 for these Northwest kokanee rod. Again, that cork handle, very, very nice craftsmanship, a fantastic fishing rod. You'll be very happy with this if you're able to get your hands on one before they're all gone. Remember, right now he's got about 30 of them that he's blown out the door, and after that you may end up waiting a little bit to get your hands on one of these Northwest kokanee rods. So I suggest you do it sooner than later. Hit them up on Facebook and get your hands on some of these as we get through the next few months of some really, really good kokanee fishing to look forward to. All right, that's going to do it for us on Baits and Scents and kokanee. More kokanee presentations coming to you in the next several weeks, as it's that time of year, so we'll be mixing those in and out as we go along. Jump out for a quick break. When we come back, we'll be in studio to close out the show. Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. Defiance boats feature a 21 to 22 degree dead rise at the transom and a large reverse chine for incredible handling and stability offshore. Defiance boats are foam flotation filled and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Defiance boats feature fuel-efficient hull designs with large fuel tank capacity so that you can have maximum fuel range for making long offshore runs completely safe and affordable. All Defiance boats come standard with self-bailing decks for improved safety while at sea. Defiance Boat offers all our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Defiance boats for all your boating needs, and let us help you get out on the water.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Phoenix Protective Corporation strives for excellence. Above all, Phoenix security officers are managed by leaders trained to inspire and encourage greatness. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts, with service ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. We here at Phoenix are looking for highly motivated individuals to apply. If you're a vet, retired or active, and would like to work with us, please apply.
Hey, welcome back in studio as we wind down. Dave Calhoun, close out the show here.
Yes, Dwayne England.
Yeah, appreciate you joining me this evening as you always do. Good stunt double for Thomas Donlin when he's out gallivanting around the Sekiu area, if you will. Hey, before we get out here, Dave, got to remind everybody, our FHN, that's right, Rendezvous is coming.
You said it fine that way.
What?
Before you said Rendezvous.
Rendezvous.
You put a little too much into it and it got weird.
Oh, got weird on you. The Rendezvous is coming up. Yes, June 11, 12, 13. Join us on the east side. You know, we're going to work hard at getting you guys all educated up on how to be successful fishing Roosevelt, Banks, Rufus. Bill Herzog will be joining us, putting on a presentation fishing Rufus Triploids. Eric Broughton, our buddy Eric Broughton, who gave a great presentation last year on walleye, is coming back. You remember Eric? It's who Jordan and I spent a couple days with hunting turkey just not too long ago. Eric will be there once again. His other passion is walleye, and he's fantastic. He'll be there doing that presentation. Still trying to dial in somebody. We've had a couple folks that had to bow out, and so I don't have right now the person lined up for the Kokanee on Roosevelt. Not only are they tough to catch this year, it's tough to get somebody to talk about it. So I'm hoping we get that landed there in the next few days, but we'll let you know. Moving forward, hey, you know, June 11, 12, 13, call up the Sky Deck Motel. Accommodations there at the Sky Deck. You're going to save a bunch of money by joining us there at the Sky Deck. 509-633-0290. Tell them you are with the Fish Hunt Northwest group coming over for the weekend in the Rendezvous, and then they'll book you at a reduced rate. You can also call up the Cooley Playland Campground and let them know that you're coming over, and they will help you out as well. Campsites are filling up pretty quick last time I talked with Hal, so make sure you check them out. I'd love to see as many people over there as we can get. Going to be a really good time. Weather should be conducive, and you know, we're going to go catch as many kokanee as we can, but the triploid and the walleye fishing on Roosevelt, Dave, has just been fantastic, so I'm looking to bring home a bunch of white meat as well.
Well, let's talk about, since we have a chance on the holiday weekend come up, let's talk about opportunities for people starting tomorrow that are maybe on vacation, have the 4-day weekend, where they're going to go, what they're going to do. Good. So you have this area locked in. I don't know anything. Once I get above Chehalis, I'm completely lost and stuff as far as giving advice. But for people that are, you know, in the southern Washington / most of Oregon, I mean, there are so many opportunities with the Columbia being open in certain places, i.e. Drano, and that rat race, and that can be fun if you know how to get away from the groups and stuff. The Kokanee Fisheries, whether you're down at Detroit Lake, which has been really good, which they really needed that rebound after all the fires they had down there, and all that stuff got wiped out. So it's nice to see those fisheries are going well. Merwin, it fishes well. Yale, depending on the weather, if you can get up in there, has been fishing well. There's lots of opportunities depending on the days. The Sturgeon Fishery, I got my first keeper.
Oh, how'd that go?
48 years is how it went. 48 years I worked on getting a keeper. I've caught thousands of sturgeon, either too big, too small, during non-retention, or we fill the boat and hand them off, and then when it's my turn, I just never got one.
Never got one.
Finally got one. Delicious eating, awesome fish. So happy to get that off the list of things to do.
Yeah.
But that fishery has been open. I believe Saturday, it's open again, and you cannot wait on these fisheries. You know, I want to tell everybody, listen, we're doing everything we can to try and preserve these fisheries, to make more fish, to try to keep what we have. But if there's something you've always wanted to do, like catch a keeper sturgeon or a big steelhead, you better jump on it now.
Don't wait.
We are losing these fisheries. We are losing opportunities left and right. So don't wait. Get in on these while you still can. But there's so much to go on this weekend. What would be up here if you were going to give people advice for like the kids and going to the lake? Where would they go and what would they do?
Well, the lakes have been open for quite some time. Some lakes are beginning to fish better than others for kokanee. I got a lot of folks showing interest in the backyard here because I've been posting a bunch of pictures. But the kokanee fishing's been pretty consistent here, a little tougher over there at American. They're scratching out 1s and 2s. Lots of trout available in a number of lakes. WDFW continues to do a great job in planting. You know, they just announced, they just released, I should say, via email the last few days, the final regulations relative to the Columbia River. So we have a number of, you know, it's a moving target. you really got to read the regs closely. You'll have 2-day opportunity here, and then it switches in what is recognized as your retention limits and what fish you can or cannot keep. I mean, you got May 30th and 31st, and then June 1 to 16, it's different, right?
They're making it so difficult.
You need to read that thoroughly and pay attention, because there is a good amount of opportunity coming up. Again, it's kind of a moving target, so pay attention to your regulations all through the Columbia, all the way up to the east side as the fisheries progress and the season progresses, and we have Chinook and sockeye opportunity that's going to be opening up anytime soon. And of course, clam digs. We got clam digs tomorrow. The beauty of it is clam dig tomorrow. And on, Jordan's got the map for you too, WDFW has put out. We got clam digs tomorrow and Sunday morning. These are great. I took Dakota Portman out yesterday. He'd never dug clams. He never caught kokanee. We accomplished it all in the same day. We got 2 limits of clams, got 2 limits of kokanee. Had a great day of, like we said, removing 40 live critters from the planet, right? So, but went out in short order. There is an abundance of clams. If you look at the map there, we actually, because it's the closest one, I'm like, why am I going to drive all the way up to 2nd Street when I can dip in here on Roosevelt? And went out there, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people all up and down the coastline. It didn't matter. You walk 10 feet, the circle of shows in the sand was just absolutely a mind blow. There's so many clams, and they're big. I mean, it was fantastic. We got our 2 limits. Again, he'd never dug clams, so I showed him a couple things. Here you go. Boom, he's off and running, 30 minutes, two limits of big clams. It took us longer to get breakfast.
Yeah.
We sat at a restaurant to get breakfast on the way home. Literally took us longer to get breakfast. So the clam digs are fun. They're daylight digs right now, which is great. In the fall and winter, when we get on those clam digs, it's nighttime and with the headlamp, which is fun too. A little colder. These mornings are nice. Great opportunity to get the family out, especially on Sunday. I think the beaches are just going to be packed.
The tides are going to be good for that, right?
Yeah, that's why they gave you the dig, because you got a minus tide. So it gives you the time. Like tomorrow, okay, it says it's a good minus tide. It's a 2.5. Minus 2.5 tide, 8:46. You can be there at 7 a.m. digging clams. You don't need to get there at daylight. First of all, the tide's still going out. Optimal time is right at peak of minus tide, but as we go into a deep minus tide of 2.5 feet, you can be there at 6:37 a.m. You're going to have enough water off the beach that you'll have a lot of shows. You're not going to have to be in the water looking for the clams. You're going to be in the sand. And there's a ton of clams. Sunday, it's a 10:26 a.m. tide. It's typically about an hour later each day. Right. So Sunday is going to be mid-morning. I mean, you grab breakfast before you go. It doesn't take you long. Everybody's cordial. It's just a great family event. Get out there, go dig some clams, come home, clean them, figure out what you're going to do with them. We're looking at making some clam chowder here in the next few days, of which we're going to add in some smoked kokanee. When you get a double limit, you gotta kind of get creative things to do. I'm going to smoke up some kokanee tomorrow. We're going to turn that into a clam chowder with smoked kokanee. It is going to be amazing. So there is a lot of opportunity out there. Go find some stuff to do. Again, kokanee fishing's been good. Clam digs, you got to take advantage of these. We finally got the beaches open up. The domoic acid levels are down. Yeah, it's just mock rocks, that long beach, but there's plenty of access for everybody. There will probably thousands and thousands of people out there on Sunday for sure. Doesn't matter. Get out there, get your clams. Again, on these morning tides, there is no digging clams after 12 o'clock. So you can only dig that morning window up until 12, right? So Sunday, that tide is 10:30. You can only dig until noon. You're better off getting there about 9 in the morning. You're going to have plenty of beach access, and you're going to get your clams in short order. Get out of there so other people can get in. Yeah, exactly. Carrie Lynn, saw you for breakfast. It took you longer to get your breakfast as well. That was pretty funny, but they were ridiculously big, and she has made razor clams the last 2 nights, and I bet they've been fantastic. So yes.
I just thought of something else. So I'm going up to Packwood tomorrow.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, for people that know in Washington, Packwood is a little town up near the mountains, and it is the biggest flea market, swap meet, anything you want. The whole town shuts down, and because of COVID, they haven't done it for the last year.
Right.
So I'm going to go up there in the morning tomorrow. Hopefully the people are showing up.
Tomorrow morning, Friday morning?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Not Saturday.
Well, it's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's typically the 4-day holiday. They do it on Memorial Day and on Labor Day.
Right.
But Friday's set up, and I kind of like being the early bird. I collect my fishing lures and the reels and all that stuff. So I get in there and try to find that stuff. But that's what I'm going to do for the holiday weekend tomorrow, at least in the morning and stuff.
Okay.
And then, you know, as the weekend goes, like I said, there's a lot of different opportunities. But the Columbia opens for basically the summer fishery, June 1st.
Right.
And we've talked about that, and I'm already looking forward to summer steelhead.
Oh, yeah.
I'm already thinking, forget about those fish, get in my little secret spots, my little hidey holes, and fish the summer steelhead fishery on the Columbia, because those have been such good days, and they close it so early on us.
They do.
And so if you can get in on that and get on those fish before they do that, that would be a great thing to do.
We will have summer steelhead on the minds of many as we roll into the first Saturday of June and we open up summer steelhead. We'll have local rivers here that will open, and we'll be talking summer steelhead in the next few weeks as it arrives. Some jig techniques, some jig fishing, some opportunity for summer steelhead. Can't wait. With that, yes, as mentioned on here by Rick, then surf perch. There's a handful of people out there. You get your clams, you throw those in the cooler, and you get out there with your waders on. You go after the surf perch.
I just finished my surf perch rods.
Did you really? 13 footers?
Well, I have 12 footers, and I have some 10.6s.
Okay.
They're a lighter, faster action. I mean, you can throw 3-4 ounces, which is typical for what we're throwing when we're on the Oregon coast, that kind of thing. But it's a 12-foot rod. You can cast it a mile.
Oh, man.
Now, I built the casting ones, and then finding out everybody's wanting spinning
rods.
So those are on the way also, but the casting ones are done.
Oh, wow.
And for the guys that like a good level wind and that kind of thing, yeah, they're done.
We may have to talk.
Yeah, that's it. So they just, I mean,
perfect.
They're still they're just now dry.
Okay,
so,
all right.
Yeah, they'll be available.
We'll check those out. All right, Dave, appreciate you jumping in here this night, man. Had a lot of fun. Great show. Appreciate everybody getting on here. Lots of comments tonight, lots of activity. This is good stuff. So we will be back here live next Thursday, 6 p.m. I believe Tommy will be back in studio, as far as I know. Of course, if he's not getting halibut this weekend, he may be grumpy and he may just say, I'm staying away next Thursday, and he's going fishing, but we'll find out. So, all right, with that, have a great holiday weekend, everybody. Be safe. Get out and enjoy. The weather's going to turn. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be fantastic. Lots of opportunity out there, and we'll try to keep you dialed in as the weeks progress on so many things to go and do and enjoy. Get the kids out there. Have a good time. We'll see you next Thursday right here on Fish on Northwest.